And given that we're both married and I have a kid now, and looking kind of back at that age of 22, 23, a lot of people are saying, hey, listen, I'm going to start a company once I reach our ages or older. What do you have to say to that? And maybe do you think that a lot of people do that, go work for a startup, or go work for a bank, go work for a consulting company, and then actually make their way back into a startup later down the line?
I've seen that happen on occasion, but I think that it's not the norm. Certainly, and you and I, we're chatting about this. Your obligations only get more significant as you get older. Like now, I do have a wife, and she has her own point of view, and back then I didn't even have a date on Friday night, so it was much easier to stay in and crank away. But I think that people's risk profiles end up getting less aggressive over time. Like, you're probably more able to take risks now than you will be at most other points in your life, personally and professionally. But also, if you spend time doing something, you get better at that thing. Like, if you go work in startups, you'll get better at it. I'm certainly, leaps and bounds better than I was when I started my first company. And similarly, if you spend time in another environment, you'll get better at that. We are very, very adaptable. We can get used to a lot of things. And so if you put yourself in a position to get used to, let's say, a large corporate environment, you'll probably will get used to it. And it becomes that much harder to resuscitate other parts of yourself.
Finally, you were mentioning the city is where Venture for America is. We know there's a lot of startups in Silicon Valley. Why not San Francisco and some of these other hot hubs for startups?
I've spent some time now. Well, the first thing we didn't just pick the city. Like, we would actually spend some time in the cities to see if there were cool companies there. And there are really cool companies in Detroit. There are really cool companies in New Orleans. There are great companies in Providence. And after spending time in those environments, I then became very excited about channeling recent graduates to those cities. But you need there to be a hub of entrepreneurship. And I'm happy to say that Detroit certainly has that now. New Orleans also does. New Orleans has an 80,000 square foot startup space that houses dozens of companies, many of which are actually doing very well and growing quickly. There are a few that have millions of dollars in revenue and are expanding. So the hope is that people, by being in that sort of system, will have the capacity to both contribute and develop. But the cities need to have that nucleus of startup activity for us to consider going.